This is the DM template that will get you responses. I tell folks, like, use this DM 5 times a day. I find with hundreds of folks that I've had do this, consistently a 20% reply rate means you send 5 a day, you'll get 1 person interested. You could work 40 hours a week for somebody else, and a year later, you still got to work 40 hours a week to make whatever you're making. You can do that with no reputation, with no social proof, with no customers. You can get your first customers following this process.
All right, and welcome back. And today, you watched this last time. We kind of went over the concepts of what items to start with. If you're starting to go high level, what should you sell first? How much you should price it at? More importantly, how to go in different tactics of actually selling the services. And today, we wanted to go a little bit deeper into that and actually start showing you the how, right? So again, really big game, us talking about how we did it. So I have Matt, as always, here. So Matt Decino, everybody from HL Pro Tools. And just for anybody knows, the whole purpose of these videos is getting you guys to either win in whatever you're trying to do to help you make more money or make any money for that sake and actually get to live the life that you want. But at the same time, if you're growing inside a high level, get you guys big enough so one day you can actually use HL Pro Tools like I've been using for the last 4 years to help with 24/7 support for actually our clients. So want to make sure that we keep that always in mind, that we're always here as you're growing and that we're available for you guys whenever you're ready. So Matt, with that being said, I know we talked a lot about concepts. I thought it was pretty crazy stuff we've been showing people, but I think today is going to be a little deeper into it.
Yeah.
So actually, I'll just turn it over to you, man, and then we can just go over it.
Yeah, this is gonna be great. So picking up from there, be sharing my screen and kind of going through this approach. So whether you're focusing on kind of like the AI employee or those sort of solutions, or something as simple as a missed call text back, initially when you're trying to get traction, it comes through conversations. You have to hear from these businesses what they care about, what they value, because to some degree, they're all different. They're all unique. And I see some folks get too focused on this is the thing I'm going to sell. And so then they meet objections unnecessarily, right? Because there's 102 different things you could do in high level. Early on, one of the most valuable things to do is to have conversations with real business owners and just connect the dots between problems they're having and solutions that exist inside of the software. So I'm going to show you a pretty tried and true method to get those conversations going. I'll start this on my phone, actually. I'll just bring it over the screen. So the script that I'm going to show you, and you'll see me paste it in here. You'll see the process. I literally save it as I don't know if it's called a pre-definition, or it's like where you, like a quick auto replace inside of your phone. So like OMW is on my way. That's one of the default ones in there.
Yeah, just a template. We'll call it a template to make it super easy.
Sure, like a text template. So I have this in here, and on my phone, if I go, hey, you, here's a text with my wife right now, but go to hey, you, and at the bottom there, you see in the center, it's like prompting. She got some money back for some Halloween decorations. And it comes out and it pre-populates. I don't have to write that whole thing. Is this showing correct and readable for you?
Yeah, it's showing backwards, but
Okay.
we overall, like,
I'm gonna give it to you anyways. So
Yeah.
I'll give it to you. Yeah. Quick, read it backwards and memorize it. Now, okay, so now I'm going to share my screen and show you what this looks like and how you can practically do this. I typically do it on my phone, but you can absolutely do it on a desktop here. And so I'm going to share my screen. And one of my favorite methods, so Nuno said he'd just go to these shopping centers and walk in the door. I think that's great. I think that's, you win by doing what others can't or won't. If you're kind of more nervous and you're like, I don't want to just show up uninvited, this is the strategy that I would take. Let me share my screen. And this is actually Instagram. Believe it or not, you can use Instagram inside of a desktop. And all I've done is I've copied and pasted this over into a message, like a DM. And so I just searched roofer and city name. Like, as surprising as it is, you can literally search profession and city, and you'll find folks that have that profession in that city. So initially, I would pick, like, my addressable market is places I could drive to. You may not have to drive there, but you're trying to draw on the advantage that farmers market chickens have. If you go to the farmers market, you pay more for eggs. Why? Because somehow I believe that their chickens are superior because they're, they live near me. And so the same thing's working in your favor here. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm picking, like, city near me, place that I could or would drive to, and I'm going to paste the script in. So if I can, I'm going to zoom in. Hopefully this, like, yeah, awesome. I want to make it easy. So if I were adjusting this for everybody, I'm going to get rid of the adjunct Pepperdine. So this is going to be replaced with, hey, I create content to help. And then I'm going to pick a junior college near me. So by me, I don't even know if, I'm trying to think of a junior college near me. There's Moore Park College. So that's the premise. Hey, I create content to help Moore Park College, this junior college near you, right? Association, students learn marketing, parentheses, and I own a marketing company, and was wondering if you'd be open to being a case study. To be clear, this is just free help, a good learning experience for the students, and I'd love it to go to help local small business. This is the DM. The premise is, why am I reaching out to you as a weirdo on the internet? Because I create content for students. What does that mean? I don't know. My YouTube videos are searchable. You can find, like, I don't exclude students from finding me on YouTube.
So you're technically not lying.
Oh, no. Like, find a way to be true with this. Like, publish one YouTube video and be like, there you go. You are officially helping students, especially if they're in, call it high value industries like roofing. They get marketed to all the time because people know a roofing job is worth tens of thousands of dollars. And so they can afford for marketing. They're probably, I mean, if I pull up their website, they probably are paying for marketing. Let's actually take a look. What I find, and what's just crazy, is the high response rate to this kind of a DM. One, because I say focus on businesses near you, right? You're standing out because it's like you help students at the junior college. So it's like, who can help students at the junior college? Anybody can help students at the junior college, right? If you live next to like Harvard, pick the junior college. Don't pick Harvard. Don't pick the university in town where they're like, that seems sketchy. Do you really, what are your credentials here? They're like, oh, the junior college. What do they call it? They call it, this is Nate Bargatze calls it the community college, because these are for the kids who are going to stay in the community. And
that's pretty interesting.
no offense. I took classes at the community college. There's nothing wrong with community college, but the point of it is the standard of authority is much lower. They think to themselves, you know what? Those community college kids probably could use some help. I should let my business be a case study for the next generation of learners, right? And so off the bat, you're approaching from this consultative side, which is step one of sales anyways, is you have to understand their problems and then connect their problems to a solution. This is the DM template that will get you responses. And they will say, oh, I love that. That'd be great. And so now you're still going in doing like Nuno said. I mean, you don't have to bring donuts now, but like the premise is you're invited. So if you're uncomfortable with that idea, use this DM template. And here's, might blow your mind, might not. The people that I teach this to that are now making, I was just talking to a guy, we stopped doing this in December of 2022. We had an accelerator. We just recently like revamped it. And partly because I talked to this guy and he was like, he did our accelerator 3 years ago. Now his SaaS he's doing 57K MRR.
Nice.
Almost 60K a month. And he just runs the process. You're like, and some folks would be like, oh, like, it's the Bill Gates quote. We always overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 10. Sure. He probably started, he was like, I'm going to make 100K MRR in the first year. But like 3 years later, 60K MRR. And he does it. He's got 3 team members. One of them is his wife. Super lean, like super.
Like 2 people run your entire business.
Essentially, he's got like 2 people doing this thing. He's like one person who does kind of like technical and like sort of, technical assistant. He's got us and then that's it. And his wife there. And so I say that to share the difference between him and other folks there is he did it. He just went out and did it. I tell folks like use this DM 5 times a day. You could probably get away with doing it 50 times a day before you'll get throttled. But like, you just have to actually do it. You do it.
Just 10, even if you just like 10 a day or 5 a day, just to get your motion kind of going, even 1 a day, if you have to kind of build up the courage. But one thing, Matt, how did you do this search? Do the search part.
Oh, literally.
Literally. How I know I'm being
on the left
general,
side. No. If you're new to Instagram and you see, if you hover over that icon that looks like a magnifying glass, this is fair. That is search. And so if I come into search, like it's now like offering me roofing, and I just literally search roofers, and I could be like, I think that one that I did before that was showing up was like Agora Hills, and give me anybody who's like tagged in Agora Hills, like, oh, cool, here's Pine Ridge Roofing, sounds awesome. Great. That's it. That's literally it. They're on your mobile. I think they go back and forth the visibility here, even kind of like a geographical kind of map search option there. That's the process. You literally search what you're looking for. And here's the interesting thing. Oh, I was going to look at their thing over here. If they have an Instagram profile and they're like doing something like this, they've got little characters, like, look at them. They're doing it, right? And look at this. They even have a video with 434 hearts, right? Some of these industries, it's actually the documenting process of it. They have the ability to go viral. It doesn't mean, let's take a look at this one. Doesn't mean they've got other business stuff in place. And that's actually brilliant, because now when you implement some of these software solutions, it's super impactful to them because they've done the other work. Here I am. This is on Pine Ridge. We just saw them. They got 400,000 likes on it was a pinned reel, but it got some virality there. And you're like, there's no chat widget on this website. I'm not even going to judge it for its looks. It's fine. It could be better, but there's no, like, I would guarantee I'll just install the chat widget on this website and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I got an extra 10 leads this month.
Oh, guaranteed, just because of the visits without they're getting your Instagram or an Instagram bot, comment roof. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So another service you can sell right there.
And so that's actually the interesting thing. If you go this process, when you DM them, you'll see they'll usually take like a day to respond. You're like, this is perfect. You'll say yes to it. And then step one, I'm gonna be like, oh, it's interesting. It took you like a day to respond to me.
Yeah.
If I was looking for a roof, maybe it'd be beneficial if it responded faster, right? So there's so many angles that immediately happen. It takes me like no time to be like, here's who I'm going after. And initially, if you are just getting started, compete on proximity, like businesses that are near you, because there's sort of like a pre-programmed familiarity. And so you don't have to just go after roofers. I'd go after anybody. I'd be like, businesses near me, and just think of a business and just search it. You're out of town and you're just gonna run this DM as many times as you possibly can. You can save it in your phone. It's like a quick text. If you find like where you search the OMW for on my way, you write it out. Most of this you can copy paste. You're just going to swap out literally community college near you. And I find with hundreds of folks that I've had do this, consistently a 20% reply rate means you send 5 a day, you'll get 1 person interested. And I just find like that's actually enough of an appetite, even though if you want to hustle, like you could, I don't know if we talked about this offline, you could work 40 hours a week for somebody else. And a year later, you still got to work 40 hours a week to make whatever you're making. It's crazy how
No,
it's
it
like,
is. And I mean, there's always a cap. I think I told you, right? I was working for corporate and my mom's insurance ran out and my dad was like hurting with cancer. And all of a sudden I maxed out on all my bonuses. I was at a set salary. I had no other choice but to find another job to help support. So, and I tried everything, man. I was like fixing phones. I was like doing anything I could possibly do. And it was funny because I would come home at like 10 o'clock at night and my wife would look at me. She's like, oh my God. She's like, this is not going to work. You're going to burn out. Like, and I did. I burned out within like 3 months because I was working literally 2 jobs for somebody else. Then that's how I started like going into the online space and figuring out jobs and everything else. But then what was really funny, and this is why I want to talk about this, is like 3 months into it, I realized there was no cap. It was like, oh, I just made $10,000. Oh wow, I could probably just make $20,000 additional. And then it just became a little bit addicting where there was no cap in how many customers I could take other than what my capacity was.
Yeah, in that moment. And that's what I say. So I encourage us like 5 DMs a day will get you probably 5 appointments a week. And if you're showing up in person to these businesses, even the worst salesperson will close 50%. Like half of them they'll feel so bad that you showed up anyways. And if you do a little active listening, you'll like, you saw it. Take me 2 seconds to be like,
yeah. And what do you mean by active listening? Meaning they're going to be so primed that you even show up and that you're already coming with like an arsenal of like ideas. And if you're coming in, their guards are already going to be down because you're telling me you're creating content and it's helping students.
Yep.
That in itself is going to create a little bit of like leeway to give you a little bit of grace. Like if you just go in there and you can't sell anything, it's okay. If anything, you're going to go in there and probably help a local business owner. Honestly, that's how I viewed it. I came in and I was always like, well, if anything goes wrong, at least I know I helped somebody today. You know what I'm saying?
And if you don't have to think about it like selling. Truly just go to help.
Yeah.
Odds are like this. And if you want, this is going to say, is you could go into the prospecting tool inside of HighLevel if you want, and just like once they say, hey, come in, plug it in the prospecting tool, and it'll tell you. I got the demo account up here. Let me see if it'll. I think we have the paid prospecting. So over here in the prospecting tool from the agency dashboard, I think you get 3 free credits no matter what.
You do. Yep.
Let me make 5 every month. Look at that. So there you go. You got 1 week. So I'm gonna try. Can I just put in their website and say I want exactly this? No. Okay. You have to add the maps URL. So let's come back to them. No, they don't even. They may not have a Google business profile. I saw them. They have reviews. They've got to have a Google business profile.
Yeah.
I say that so confidently, but maybe I shouldn't. Okay. Where are these reviews? That's a Google review, supposedly. Let's search it. Here we go.
I mean, ironically, only 87 Google reviews. I mean, 4.9 is pretty high too, so it's nice.
Well, so that's good. They're a good business. They're doing good work. Can I just get this on Maps? Here we go. What URL are they looking for? I think this has got it. So if you come from the Maps URL, here we go. This is not accurate.
I think you can actually put in the name. I think the name will actually come up.
Well, hopefully there's no, oh yeah, that's a better way to do it. No?
Interesting.
They are blocked. No, they don't want anybody helping them. Well, I'll show you an example here.
Yeah, usually you can find it pretty easy. Like, I mean, we just happened to pick one that
I guess I picked a hard one. I'm going to pick Pine Ridge Roofing. Pine Ridge Roofing LLC. So we'll do Pine Ridge. There it is.
There it is right there. Yeah.
Go through. Well, actually, at this point, you would have a point of
Yeah, because
contact
they responded back to you. Yeah.
because they're responding back. But so, like, you get them to respond back. You're gonna run the audit.
And worst case scenario, you walk in with this and you walk into this and you just hand them over and it's going to be like, hey, I generated this for you again, just so then we can have a great conversation to create this content.
Yep.
And then just start, filming yourself. Do you mind if I film you? So ask you a couple questions and blah, blah,
Yep.
blah. I mean, literally, and the questions you are can also be scripted. It'd be like, how many reviews are you getting? You have a way to communicate with clients. How many calls do you think you miss? What happens off hours? I mean, once you start getting into their brain a little bit, and then the reviews alone, and then you have this prospecting tool, which again, buy free, right? Remember, the goal is how can we do this for the least amount of cost? This is
Mhm.
pretty easy to do.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's funny, once you have interest, it's so much more motivating to solve these problems. And
Absolutely.
this is why, if I'm like, take one thing, do this, do the DMs, especially to businesses near you. They are ripe. Like, they want to be helped. They will love this. They will appreciate that you show up. Worst case scenario, like Nuno's story, like you'll start getting free baked
Ice
goods
cream
and
to this day.
free ice cream to this day.
I can never say
And
no to free ice cream.
and this is the linchpin for a lot of folks is they're like, how do I reach out? And what this doesn't do is it doesn't presume that you know what their problems are. All that it says is I'm here to help. And it's really intended to be a discovery process for the purpose of, college students learning, but like you're learning at the same time. And if you go through the conversation and they start to say, okay, oh, wow, we had this thing go viral. We got capacity to do 100 roofs. And, we only did 20 so far. You look on their website or you just look at the marketing audit report. It's going to tell us, hey, there's no chat widget. It'll tell you these are the missing pieces. And so at that point, they've described a problem. You got a piece of paper telling you what the missing pieces are. You would have to be a kind of malicious person not to at least tell them you have a solution to their problem. So that's what I mean. You don't have to think about it like selling. You're just like, let me understand your problems. How much is it worth it to you? Hypothetically, if you choose a food truck and they're like, wow, if I solve this, I'll make an extra $20 a month. Okay, maybe they're not going to buy. But any of these kind of businesses, they're sitting there and it's like a missing lead is worth tens of thousands of dollars. So for you to be like, well, I have this thing, it's a few $100s a month. They're going to be like, this is nonsense. Like, set it up immediately, turn it on right now. Like, what are we doing waiting for this? And so that's for the getting started, how to get customers fast. Like, I'll tell you more and more so, this is the story of the folks that I see who gain traction because they focus on grabbing the stuff that is in their realm of influence and advantage early on.
Sure, sure.
You can do that with no reputation, with no social proof, with no customers. You can get your first customers following this process. After you have them, I'm telling you, it's so much easier to run ads when you've got, a bucket of 20, 30 paying SaaS subscribers. So much easier to like niche down when your everyday needs are being met and you got recurring revenue coming in there. So that's like the guy that I mentioned earlier. We interviewed him for the podcast and he was saying how his first 40, I think that's what he did. He just ran this process for businesses near him. The next 60, out of the 40 businesses near him, one of them happened to be a really unique industry. It was like the poop scooper industry. And so he had one client just like loved him. They literally just go around and pick up the poop from people's houses, dog poop. And from that, he got like 60 referrals. So he served 40, just trying out different businesses. From that, got like 60 referrals, and that boomed him into, getting past the 100. And once he had 100 and he was making $20,000 a month, and he was like, okay, now I'm going to try and run Facebook ads, right? And it absolutely makes sense. Then you've got a budget to do it because you've got some margin there, 10K to live, another, 5K in expenses.
But because the second question that we get is like, one, how do you get customers, right? What services do I sell? Which I think we've been answering quite a bit at this point. The other one is right after that, what niche should I go after? And Matt just answered it. It doesn't matter. When I first started, I went after everybody that basically wanted to pay me until finally, eventually you'll group up into a bunch of people that just, you're going to kind of understand and that you seem are pretty powerful, or sometimes you don't. And it stays a little general for a little while, but no matter what, you're going to kind of like slot yourself into a niche. So you can go very general at first, and then later on go to one individual, like kind of niche area and everything else. And again, this whole purpose of the starting from like zero and scratch series is like really understanding, like, we're not trying to overfeed too much. We're trying to give you little baby tactics that you could start doing to kind of help you get advanced and not overcomplicating. This literally was going into Instagram, taking the exact verbatim of what he did, obviously changing it with your college or whatever it is, and just go in and asking a bunch of questions and record yourself doing it. Not only is that going to be good for you, because when you watch yourself like having the conversation, you can kind of coach yourself on like, oh, I shouldn't have said this. I should have said this instead. And you're going to see the customer's reaction. And believe people like love to help, especially people, the more successful somebody is, the more they want to give back. At least I found that every time that I talk to any business owner that's killing it. 9 times out of 10, they're like, yeah, come on by. I have like about 30 minutes here, blah, blah. And you have a small conversation, leads to good friendships. Like a lot of the people that I know around the story areas are, like I said, I helped them out once and they forever don't forget you. You know what I'm saying? You go in, hey, how you doing? How's business going? And every now and again, they'll get like, it's not great. Here's what I'm suffering, or like, I don't have this thing going on. And can you help with that? And then that becomes another conversation. So cool.
So here's that auditing report based on, I think it was Pine Ridge. You can see, you can export the PDF, you can print it out, you can put it on an iPad or something like that and show up and have this. I thought that would be a quick thing to export that, but you can see it's going through. Okay, don't have a chat widget on the website. It's saying they're not running on WordPress. Interesting. So there's the possibility there. Do they love their website host? They've got good reviews. They respond to most of the reviews, which is great. They've got a text-enabled phone number, which is great. So there's a lot of things working for them. Like they don't have a Facebook pixel on the website. It means and so there's small little things, which this is what we've seen is, I'll say this. If you're going this process and you get even like one customer, we have kind of a unique thing where we took money from HighLevel and we're, depending on when you watch this video, we are heavily subsidizing our onboarding process. That's what we do. We do onboarding like on behalf. So you'd be like, oh, I sold them. Now what do I do? Well, with us, you're like, pay and then book them onto an onboarding call and keep on DMing folks and move on with your life. But so stuff like install a Facebook pixel, we have folks that like, that's part of their checklist. Like for us, we're doing the onboarding call and we're just like, let's get your Facebook pixel installed. And so there can be things like that has nothing to do with anything the software is going to do. But the business owner might be like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know my Facebook pixel isn't installed. It's like,
yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, but it's just like a service that you're going to provide that's not naturally there. Yeah. And it can be part of the onboarding. I love it.
And it's inconsequential, but there's stuff here. Now it's interesting when I go through this, you see all these, they're pretty high score. There's a chance if I was just doing cold prospecting them and I wasn't nearby, probably wouldn't be the, highest possible conversion because like the only thing they're missing is a chat widget. However, a chat widget is a pretty big gap. And then I also might contend that they might not be asking for reviews. Maybe they're just accidentally getting them. Like they're driving businesses to the Better Business Bureau, which is like not doing much for the, AI is not indexing the Better Business Bureau to determine like what are the recommended businesses,
right, whether or not they're good.
This is literally like
the most unvisited
literally
rating things of all time.
There when people are very upset and they just want to, try and like strong arm the Better Business Bureau to get their money back or whatever. And so, put this out here, gives you kind of a printed version. You can bring it in. Obviously, replace that with like your company. It actually will do this by default, replace it with your details there. And it looks like, okay, cool. Looks like you put a bunch of time and energy to figure out like, what are the things that are going well? What are the things that could improve? And by and large, they have, here's a great thing. They have one review unresponded to from 2 months ago. Probably every other one that's been responded to. But that just means it's a manual activity. So it's not even bad. But then you're like, that means it's manual work that you're doing. You know how you could have 100% success rate? Like just put AI on this. It could be autopilot. You don't have to do this. It's like, I have 100%, on-time payments for so many things in my life because of auto pay. Not because I remember all the things I need to pay every single day. So it's like, you're doing great. You're remembering 98% of the time, but you're losing, not actually because you missed one. You're losing because you're doing this manually.
Yeah. And there's
actually the loss here is you're coming at this and thinking, oh, I got to make sure do this checklist every single day. And that's just like unnecessary mental strain that can be solved with a system like HighLevel there. And so I might actually run this if I'm doing less than 5, print it out, bring it into the business, and then have a conversation. But the kickers are use the script, run the DMs, businesses near you. You can easily get a really addicting amount of lifestyle revenue running this exact process because awesome. You do this, you get 10, 20, 30 folks. You have 30 folks paying you $200 a month. That's $6,000 a month. And that's like, at that point, you're like, okay, cool. My HighLevel costs probably around 1,000, maybe less than that, maybe slightly more, even if it's 2, you're like, but you're in the space where you see it, you believe it, it's working, it's cash flowing.
Yeah, and your confidence goes up. There's so much more you can do. And there is a difference that does change like drastically when you can run ads where you're not worried about what the ad cost is going to be. You're not like scrummaging around trying to get the change or whatever else. And you can hire help. That's like the second big thing that becomes a big life-changing thing. You can hire help and it becomes a real big difference. And again, we're trying to microfeed you this stuff so it's easy to follow. Again, we've now shown you a little bit how to. We have one that was conceptual. We had another one that was a full how to. We're trying to mix this up. So again, just in the comments, let us know what you guys want to hear about. We're going to keep getting deeper and deeper, and we're going to try different things. Again, we might do another starting from scratch and actually go for a whole new business and see if we can launch a business like a consulting business and see how that works. And again, making it where put the least amount of money in to get us to win the fastest possible way that we can, right?
Mhm.
And that's going to be the goal of this series and what we're trying to do. So as always, thanks again for watching. All the links will be below. Again, to Matt's HL Pro Tools channel. I want to make sure that he gets all the credit that he deserves. Again, a lot of great golden nuggets in that channel. It's got like a few views. We need to help that out. But honestly, I watch it pretty well and I get a lot of my ideas from Matt. But I recommend you guys watch that channel too. And more importantly, when you guys grow and you thinking about how to get third-party support, onboarding, and everything else, we want to make sure that HL Pro Tools is first on your mind. So with that being said, everybody, thank you again. Matt, as always, awesome. I know this is like your 7th hour of videos today.
Love it.
And
No,
always
always
love
love it.
that you made 30 minutes out of your time for us. So we appreciate it.
Awesome. See you on the next one.
All right. Thank you, everybody.